As we got ourselves the red Terran player in the bottom left-hand side from the Shopify. Rebellion, bottom half of the bracket now, so we're back to the round of 6. This is ByuN. If he wins today, he'll get his rematch against Cure. As in the top right, our blue Protoss player from Team GP. Let's hear it if you're cheering on Prince. Alright, fresh new best of 5. A Zerg awaits in the finals, and our question is which Terran or Protoss will go to meet that Zerg in the finals. That is going to be our plan. I'm just going to be seeing the probe hopping up in towards the main. There is a little proxy on the map, so Barracks will build in a forward position to start out with here. To start ByuN out here initially. I see the probe just wanted to try and check where that barracks was, and is able to find it. That's really nice for Prince, just knowing it's not a full-on proxy, for example. It takes away a couple of the options / possibilities that this could be. That's obviously very, very good to know. Let's see if Robe gonna go hide in the corner then. The Reaper of ByuN moving back home is not gonna do too much in the end so far. And we'll see what Prince has in store for us. Prince is this very creative player that usually has a whole different kind of pack of builds ready to go and ready to throw at his opponent. So he's definitely one I'm excited to see. And while PvT, I mean, we talk about the new patch a lot at the minute, obviously. PvT, a couple of changes for PvT is, you know, Widow Mines don't burrow as quickly when they've got drilling claws. And the other change for PvT really is obviously a few less battery aggressive builds will happen because the batteries are nerfed. And that's obviously a pretty big one for someone like Prince, who is kind of, you know, a bit of a, I don't want to say a void ray abuser, I don't think that's very true, but he definitely likes to make use of aggressive batteries and, you know, switch some of those builds in. So I think a tougher kind of best of 5 to play for him, that considered. If we do get late game DTs are nerfed as well, they no longer attack immediately upon blinking. They have a 0.75 second delay. And that does obviously have a little bit of an impact. We do have our Robo facility continuing up at the moment. Just going to see our gateway coming now. Blink is starting on the side of Prince, so pretty standard Blink play from him. Going to play 2 gates and then the Robo. We'll see what he wants to do from here, if there's going to be a choice to be made or what exactly he'll set up for. So intrigued about that as we get ourselves a third Nexus start. Yeah, that's what I was kind of expecting, right? The third base. Otherwise, extra gates probably would have already started and stuff like that. Yeah, just going to be seeing the probe just pulling back over to the natural. Stimpack is already on the way up here from ByuN. Marines coming through and additional barracks in production as well. I feel like Drilling Claws was never researched in TvP in the first place. Drilling Claw, I mean, people play Widow Mine styles. Depends on the style of process playing, but Widow Mines are pretty powerful TvP. And you saw a lot of, like, you know, some people even went Drilling Claws Widow Mine opening. Like, as that, just use that as an opening and then just drop. But mid-game as well, against like a Phoenix Zealot, Widow Mines were also just very good. Don't think necessarily the Widow Mine change was mostly directed towards TvP, because I think it's mostly in TvZ, which is a much more fast-paced matchup, and you know, you have units running in, you know, on a whim a little bit more often in TvZ. But it does have something of an impact in TvP, especially just Widow Mine drops later in the game. So, like I say, I mean, it's not like it's, I don't think it's necessarily TvP targeted, but it definitely gets caught in it. I think in general TvP is the matchup which is mostly unaffected by this patch. The one thing that obviously does change are the Void Rays and proxy batteries and stuff, but my my idea behind saying all this is that the idea behind all of this is that if you're not going to proxy battery, well, the rest of the game looks standard still, right? It still looks the same, so I don't think a lot changes in TvP. Maybe Terrans can do a couple things that are a little bit safer because they're not as afraid of those proxies. But I think a lot of the time you're scouting to see if there's a natural or not. If there's no natural, then you start worrying about the proxy. And if there's not no natural, the game continues as it used to. And that's very much so the case now. So yeah, I think the changes for PvT are very minimal for the most part. Just going to see our Stalkers blink into the main base and just going to go after a gateway. Oh, Marines are over there. I don't know why our Observer's watching the Observer. And I mean, these bio units stimmed at that group of Stalkers and we were just following the Observer along. That's me being lazy trying to use other people's cameras for observing. Getting bit in the butt. Can't really complain, not observing myself. I just thought that was a crazy moment to be like, oh, let's follow the Observer along because these Stalkers were stuck in that main for a little bit. DT delay on attack after Blink's affect late game PvT somewhat? Yeah, exactly like I said. It changes up the DTs, but I don't even say like most of the DT interactions it doesn't affect. I'd say 50% of DT interactions are them walking into a base and killing a base, then blinking away anyway. The other 50%, so it does stop them being able to aggressively blink on top of units as much. They will obviously lose a few, you lose a couple of DTs maybe now when you blink on top if you do go for that play. I mean, that's all very kind of built around kind of how many units there is. I don't know if it's significant. I feel like for the Terran, it just means they can clean up DTs with a few less units every now and again. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's obviously the biggest change, I think, PvT-wise, outside of the battery. We saw Max Packs against Killer Zone, the Balanced PTR mod. That's actually my YouTube video tonight. And that very much so looked the same as usual PvT. Like, Max Packs, he didn't jump on units as much with the DTs, but, like, every other part of it looked very much the same. So, that's a lot of what I'm basing my PvT expectations from at the moment. ByuN's really committing forward here into a Colossus on either side. Doesn't really feel great for him. And a couple of batteries force fields going down to try and block those units from coming back up the ramp. And that's going to be more or less all they wrote for that one for the moment. A +2 attack continues up, so that's continuing to play. Temple Archives are still coming in as well, so just getting all of that up and running here still, guys. As we do have our bio units of ByuN back down to the south. I mean, that Prince is defending that attack. He's going to start pushing, maybe believing he's got enough units to make something happen down to the bottom left. So let's see if that will be the case or not. Zealot, Stalker, Colossus readying this first attack through. ByuN, that depot on the right side is actually kind of important. It's going to create a little bit of a choke point here and maybe a little bit of a buffer for the rest of his units. So that should be fairly useful. That should help a lot. These couple of Archons continue to morph in. And they're going to rally forward with everything else. We do see one hallucination popping as well as in we go. Bio Army will stim. First tank goes down almost immediately. The force field almost feels like it helps the Terran player because it just gives them a choke point to put the Zealots into. But I think this Army Prince has to be careful. I mean, both sides have to be careful. The two Colossi still seem scary. We're going to see the Vikings going to start targeting down the Prism. It now dies, so no micro potential beyond this. However, we're kind of running out of units to get rid of these ground forces, and now Marauders are going to go jumping forward for the Colossus. A couple of Vikings still alive, by the way. 11 SCVs died from ByuN. The Prince is losing a lot of his army supplies. These last few units continue to take some hits. They do get away for the moment, but my goodness, this really was a bit of an exciting back and forth few moments. I kind of wanted to say Prince had this moving in. It felt like he got rid of the first few tanks very quickly, but it just felt like he was then packing a little bit of a punch, missing a little bit of a punch at the end, right? He didn't pack that punch to really just kind of find the finishing blows, and then ByuN really started to push him back, and then obviously it became scary on the other side of things, right? So that was kind of a weird back and forth that kind of went down. That was very interesting to bear witness to. Now, Dark Shrine coming up from Prince as he preps for the next stage of his game. ByuN is going to go into a chunk of Ghost production now as well, so a few of those Ghosts already on their way out. I'm just going to be seeing the and shockwaves and everything just continue up as well. So really is going to be with Ghost next time around. However, there's also going to be disruptors on the field from Prince, so that's obviously a big W, having disruptors to help out. That goes a long, long way usually. Couple Zealots just finished warping in there as well. The other Zealots out down the other side. Now it's going to be seeing a couple of disruptors continue to rally forward. +3 attack, +1 armor. They just continue to come into play as well here as our Marines and Marauders will continue on through. These Zealots are going to get turned around pretty much immediately, so that just gets shut down, and the SCV's mining out over the left-hand side. Disruptors coming up. Shadow Stride going to be done here soon as well. As our +1 armor, our +3 attack. All of that continues into play. Fire Force comes through and a disruptor shot fires pretty much immediately there again, forcing this Bio army backwards, and the army of Prince will have a chance here to, if it would like to, maybe get forward and try and engage a little bit. The Bio Force continue to fight. The Zealots get turned around. This Disruptor's actually going to get a couple good starting shots, removing a tank from the equation, and now a Ghost as well. Good start from Prince, just getting some units killed off, and at the same time he's starting to push his CC away from ByuN, so ByuN's unable to expand as he might like to. Oh, tank shots continue, and disruptors are taking a beat, and my goodness, another disruptor in the front will go down now, so a good pushback from ByuN. And it's looking all good for Prince, but then, yeah, like I say, good pushback from ByuN, and now this army of Prince in the corner. Is it stuck? ByuN on sieges, he's going to start moving across the map, and Prince will see this in a moment. He's actually going to recall home to try and deal with this attack that ByuN is establishing, and I don't blame him because it was starting to look a little bit scary there. I do leave one disruptor behind, that gets caught. Prism in the main base, big warp in. A couple units stimming over from ByuN, so he knew about it, he just wasn't able to get enough here to stop the warp in. He does get enough here to actually play after that, as a couple units lifted back into the Prism basically straight away. There was also a Ghost there for an EMP, so DTs didn't even need to be scanned. Better to keep that Prism alive and to get to go again later than anything else. Prince is back into the middle of the map, mind you, and already looking for another fight, trying to take advantage of the Terra maybe moving into the main to defend. The Vikings clean up the Prism. That's not going to be an issue anymore, and that made that entire commitment, unfortunately, not too pretty as the Bio units, well, continue to do okay. A couple of EMPs across the few Zealots there initially. How many disruptors are there? There's 5 on the map at the moment. Scary number, right? 4 and above is scary because you pretty much can always have one disruptor shot firing, and their cooldowns will continue to reset, so definitely a factor there as Bio Force gets rid of the Zealot down that bottom corner. Now we're going to fire up some shots, and the Zealots get turned away. They get pushed back up to the top right-hand side. The Zealots continue to move down. They're going to get a wrap around on this sensor tower. It's going to get picked off immediately, and that's nice because it removes the idea of ByuN being able to just track fully what's going on. And a sensor tower is 100 gas, so it's a good pickoff, right? It's expensive. It's easy to kill. It's always a good target. It removes information from ByuN. You know, as a Protoss player, you're pretty much always looking towards the sensor towers. That's an easy pickoff. I mean, everyone does. Let's see how Zealot Stalker forces moving in again. The Disruptor's going to start the zone, and already one Ghost falling victim to the Disruptor shooting right there. We do have the Disruptor still just zoning out on the ramp, and meanwhile 14 SCVs have died. This game really heating up a little bit. Our Bio units will stim forward again. Disruptor shot fires in. Marine Marauder getting blown up. Now these couple of Disruptors here, just kind of wandering in. Unfortunately, they go down. That's a miss rally from Prince. It feels like every time something goes right one way, there's like a little mistake on the other side, and things fall apart a little bit after. Very interesting as our DTs continue to join up down on the south side. So they will set up over there, and just going to be seeing Medevac, Viking, Bio Force also getting going. The DTs come blinking through, and Planetary Fortress takes a lot of shots there straight away. Those DTs do end up being chased away big time towards the end. Those extra Marauders coming through. 14 Zealots just walked in, my goodness. The thing is with 14 Zealots is you're really hard committing to the idea of just getting across and, you know, doing a lot of damage, no? I mean, 14 Zealots is a lot to be working with. Big EMPs going down. Disruption on the left side looked like it was going to be good, and it does get 2 Ghosts. Nice shot gets a couple of Marauders, and this is the issue. The chase potential for the Terran is non-existent because of how good those Disruptors are at zone and units as they chase. Look at all these pickoffs you're starting to get as the Protoss, as Terran chases you down. However, ByuN believes he can still keep going and justify it. And he's been doing okay. He got rid of the Colossi, got rid of a lot of the Disruptors as well, so he's made it a much better situation than you might have thought. In this chase, I really didn't think anything was going to be all that successful, but turns out to be okay. He's going to be having one more Disruptor shot firing through, not quite landing. Extra Disruptor still building up. Marine Marauder, Medevac, Ghost as well, all continuing to produce right now as we get set up once more in this game. This GT's going to go running down the bottom side of the map as well, so they're going to be off and away. Fire Force joining up together and just going to be having our DTs ready to jump on this base. So keep that in mind, as again I mentioned earlier, the idea of DTs not being able to blink on top of units anymore. This might be a great example of that. As huge Disruptor shot dead center on the Bio, and goodbye, see you later. 16 SCVs went down as well. It feels like Prince really is just rallying himself into a big advantage now in this game 1. It feels like too much is happening on the side of Prince and not enough is happening from ByuN. I'm just wondering if there's maybe some way ByuN can take like one big good fight. His army supply is still reasonable. His DTs just kill off this base, kill off the tank. SCVs are in trouble until units come over, and ByuN isn't even going to have one large fight again. He's just going to tap GG, and Prince will end up with a map 1 victory in this best of 5. As here we have game number 2. Getting ready to go, go, go. Top left-hand side, our Red Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion. This is ByuN. And he is down by 1 in this round of 6 matchup, as the blue Protoss in the bottom right-hand corner has taken the lead. Team GP's Prince looking to expand on this lead right now. Game number 2, as we have got the probe moving around the natural. We're going to start to move onto the map. That probe just coming through. Gonna get all the way to the upper left and just a little investigation as to what is going on initially. Nothing really too wild to begin with as we get set up. SCV in the probe. Gonna chase each other around for a moment or two then. And that will be our initial action. Now we see another SCV moving forward. That one's gonna... Sorry, that one's not moving forward. It's coming back home. So that SCV going back home, that will be kind of that for the moment as we get settled down. The factory just starting out. And again, just a lot of building up at the moment. And we've seen our Twilight Council coming through. And that's going to be Prince once more. Probably aiming for like a bit of a blink opening, using that as his baseline for the rest of the game. That shouldn't really be too surprising. So what we kind of expect to see, mostly. We're having a good time, though. Getting a couple of workers already is obviously really nice as well, so doing a real good job of that. And across the board, looking reasonable at the moment. Well, pretty reasonable setup at the moment then, guys. Just waiting for a little bit more to action. We're going to come to action here as we just have our medevac moving across. I hate to say, got ourselves a Stalker there to kind of deal with it, and defense so far looking just pretty reasonable. I know I keep saying reasonable, but kind of where we at. Nothing's really too wild at the moment. The medevac will actually get across the map in the end. It's a small map, remember, so you don't really want to take the risk. You don't really want to be caught off guard by Terran units moving across you're not ready for. Once they start moving, they're going to arrive very quickly, so you've pretty much always got to be prepped for that. As they see medevac makes its way down across the map. We'll be getting into the bottom side. Is just going to sit there and wait for the moment, and at the same time a prism coming across the other way. Different blink this time with the 4 gateways, so it is going to be Prince taking the initiative. Medevac sitting here is alright, because it means it can just sort of chill, and at some point in time we'll probably make a move to try and catch his opponent off guard. There's a lot more Stalkers continuing to warp in. Prince will have those to potentially something happen with. Just going to be seeing our medevacs and our Raven and the Marines. That's how I'm saying medevacs coming through. Oh, we dropped the auto turret preemptively. The Stalkers are going to blink in anyway. There's a very committed position, obviously, because there's no blinking out from this position. All you can do is blink deeper into the main. We're going to start doing that. The Wooden drop comes in. Prince ain't watching, and boom, for 11 probes already. And of course, they might still be able to be saved, as now the Stalker's going to blink through to the natural. Well, they haven't killed any SCVs yet, and eventually they will get some, but it's been very slow going. Now a tank siege, and we're going to start seeing these Stalkers finally having a way out. They can blink down over there. They didn't all blink properly, though, and a little bit micro compared to what it could have been. Well, Terran player comes out with an 11 SCV lead. That's obviously pretty fantastic. It's a huge worker lead in a matchup where you're not really meant to have a worker lead as the Terran, so I think it's fair to say that that's obviously a pretty good situation for ByuN to be in. He'll be pretty happy with that. And well, yeah, I mean, Prince at this stage is already looking to be in a whole bunch of trouble, so kind of interested as to what exactly he does to try and make up for this. He's going to go blinking into the main base again, tries for the tank, but again, there's so many units here and they're dealing so much damage. The Prism doesn't go down, but it takes a beating. And the next time an attack like that happens, we've got Stim about to finish up, and with Stim finishing, that obviously just makes things even more difficult to work out. The Stalker's going to come back into the center, the ByuN units move out onto the middle of the map again. And just going to be seeing a Marine shot down already by this group of Stalkers. Prism still up over, moving to the top side. Main we go. Stalkers will blink up, and just going to be seeing our concussive shells going to be the initial target. Combat shields will go down as well, so that's really nice to deny combat shields at least. The Terran Force now has to figure out how exactly we're going to do this. Force field on the ramp's going to help, as a lot of SCVs might go down. Force field on that ramp wasn't perfect. The Marines on the other side should be able to kill the prisoner. I was going to say, that doesn't look safe. But ByuN took a while to make that play. Don't think it matters as Prince loses pretty much everything, and he knows there's no recovering from that. So that's GG's. And, well, yeah, that's GG's, and that's going to be ByuN tying our series up nice and simple on Curious Minds. But a mind drop really did a... Thanks so much, Peak5G, for the 20-month resub. Welcome back, and appreciate, as always, the support. Appreciate the big resubs, guys. Thank you so much for continuing to support the channel and all the StarCraft 2 content. Sorry for a few moments of silence. It's just replying to a quick message from the parents while we got this game underway. Here on Glittering Ashes for map 3, we've got our cybernetics core, our Nexus, all finishing up shortly. Factory was in the high ground, so just going to be seeing no 3 racks or anything. I mean, it's Glitter and Ashes. We're expecting a bit of a longer game here, and builds which kind of develop into longer games rather than 3 racks, which looks to walk across the map and try and deal damage right from the get-go. We're trying to grab a couple of probes if at all possible. You can see the Stargate on the way from Prince. So Stargate opening to switch up from the 2 Twilight Council openings he's used in games 1 and 2. Reaper trying to make its way in, but will not succeed as we just go back to the middle of the map. Warp gate is coming through, Robo Facility building as well. All of that just continues out for the moment as we'll drop a couple of gates down on the front of the Naturals. So just getting a couple of those gateways started. All of that ready and to go. That's how our Reaper pulls on down to the south. Marines and SCVs still in production. Starport going to drop a tech lab down, and the Raven is just going to be coming through as well. So just getting that Raven up and running also here. And yeah, looking pretty good across the board. A depot will go down. It's going to be seeing the barracks building up as well. And the Robo done. We end up going Robo Facility in the end, and now just straight to a Robo Base. A little switch up from what the original plan seemed to be. And that Robo Bay is going to give us the chance to build into Colossus, maybe some early disruptors. Definitely going to be a couple of options across the board there at first, though, that's for sure. Impact starts on the side of ByuN, just getting that underway initially. Extra barracks building up as well. Yeah, I mean, as the Reaper scouts in, we're going to get a beautiful scout of the Robo. Where's the Robo Bay at? Is it in the back of the Natural? Oh, back of the main, sorry. No, it's in the back of the Natural, huh? So, doesn't quite see the Robo Bay, but you get to see that's a Robo Facility at least, so that's some info. Where's the Robo Bay? It is in the Natural. Oh, I just completely blind there. So yes, the Robo Bay is in the Natural, so that's obviously something that's not being seen just yet from ByuN, but seeing it's a Robo Facility and nothing else, the Robo Bay is then a pretty good assumption you can make, right? I mean, you know, I don't think that's too crazy of a suggestion to be made there at all. And there's a few probes continuing to chrono boost out. +1 attack and charge still coming in on the side of Prince. And the few Stalkers will make their way also just to the front. The Raven heads all the way down through the bottom right-hand corner and will be making its way in toward the Natural. Here comes the rest of this Bioforce from ByuN, being able to come across, get down over here. We do have our batteries that are continuing to build, and the Raven will... Well, what are we going to do? Looked like it wanted to go for an auto turret for a moment or two there. Just going to be seeing it going into the main base. I mean, there's a battery here as well. You could double turret or so. Uh-oh, ByuN's army getting caught in the middle of the map. Now he's going to stim and turn. I mean, with the tank siege, they put a fight onto the Colossus. Well, neither player was really ready for that fight. It felt like ByuN got caught, and it felt like Prince got caught almost. Definitely a little bit of a weird back and forth that just went down. I've seen this Bio Army continue to make some moves, but it's going to be tough to find a ramp to really push up because so far Prince has been tracking this well. We're going to siege the tanks. We're going to try and go for this. The Colossi have to step away. You sit in range of those siege tanks and you're going to have a very bad time. So it's very important you take a step away from that sooner rather than later. It's going to be seeing our tanks continuing to siege up and just going to be having the couple of barracks continuing in from ByuN. So Barak still on the way out. Just going to be seeing the prism coming through, +1 armor coming through. With that continuing into play at the moment. Well, I mean, would be kind of a surprise if Glitter and Ashes ended quickly, and this one does seem as though it's going to stretch out at least a little bit. He has to grab the Observer up on the high ground. Nice to remove some vision of Prince, of course, remove his ability to kind of see what's going on and everything. The Gravitic Drive coming up, so we're going to get that Warp Prism speed brought into play as well. Something additional for us to, you know, kind of see harassment-wise for Prince. Obviously, can take that Prism speed and really utilize that Prism in whole new ways once that is completed, so that should also be a factor. A couple of Archons continuing through the +1 armor coming in as well, so all of that's still just coming up right now. A lot of setup at the moment as we're going to be having now a Bioforce moving down the right hand side. ByuN has a lot of tanks. If he can get into a position with these tanks, it's very scary for Prince because those tanks will just shred units, and especially, you know, if a Colossus or Disruptor Force just takes a step too far forward to try and get some shots off, yeah, those tanks are going to basically delete them. So that's going to be kind of concerning. That's going to be something we got to watch out for here. As Prince is working a way around the bottom right-hand side. The few Marines are going to try and go for the Prism. Actually, they didn't target. It looked like they stepped forward to hit the Prism, but then they didn't target it. Catch themselves that running across the map as well as actually ByuN. Love that depot raise. Is going to basically lock those Zealots into that corner, and that allows them to clean this up more effectively. And then ByuN cutting the corner back home. He's going to catch those Zealots that are trying to run to the third base. So ByuN finds a lot of Zealots right away. This group of Zealots actually not going so pretty, as all of a sudden they are actually being able to take a pretty good fight. I mean, that was actually just a misjudgment from ByuN. He believed he sent enough back to deal with it, but Zealots are really good in these scenarios. They did very, very well at cleaning up right there. So yeah, Zealots doing a great job. It's just going to be seeing our Marauders still taking a chunk of damage, and the few Marauders on the high ground here flying away at those Zealots as well. 18 SCVs currently killed. That number is slowly increasing as our Bioforces get rid of another Zealot. And just going to be maybe burrowing up a couple depots and get out onto the map with everything else also here. Move forward and try and clean up a little further. 27 SCVs going down. What a moment or two from Prince, able to get so much damage done so quickly across the board there. Really going a long way. SCV is still just going down. We're just going to be having that Bioforce still pulling back. A couple of Zealots continuing to drop off, and tanks, oh, just destroy a couple of Disruptors immediately. So a couple of Disruptors go down pretty much straight away as our Zealots continue to charge into the natural. Those Zealots will drop big anti-armor missile, lands on that Colossus Stalker Force. You push forward with everything here from ByuN. That Nexus on the bottom side gets cancelled as well. Another Disruptor shot flies but does not land. We have Disruptors here that fire too late, and ByuN gets a huge jump on this army. ByuN is the player who just lost so many SCVs across the map. He needs to make things happen, and right now he's making them happen. A lot of Zealots across the map yet again from Prince, as ByuN will probably not be able to defend those Zealots. He'll sim around the ones he can. He drops a couple of EMPs to do what he, whatever is possible. He actually will hold the bunker at the front of the natural, though. That's a pretty big deal if that bunker stays up, and the ones behind the third base actually get cleaned up as well. The Ghosts really powering up there and helping a lot. First the EMPs, and then just that damage to the Zealots goes a long way. I can't believe he cleaned up the units on the third. As ByuN, I mean, this is, again, a difficult army for Prince to break through, and this is almost all in from ByuN. With the worker count he's on, he needs this army to do very well. He needs to protect the siege tanks. He's obviously got an anti-armor missile as well. He's going to put that down right now. Give him the chance to start moving forward. He wants to pull the trigger sooner rather than later. He wants less time for the pros to get more tech units out. And with the anti-armor missile active, he's basically given himself what he believes is a free chance to move into the natural, because why the hell would you attack with anti-armor missile up on your units? Well, you probably shouldn't. Shadow Strike continues to build. ByuN is going to go all the way into the main. That does mean these tanks are abandoned, though. So ByuN basically decides to say, yep, siege tanks, goodbye, we'll see you later. They are no longer a thing, but moves into the main base. I don't think I like it. I think there's better chances of maybe working with those siege tanks, because now this main base army is obviously in trouble. We have a few Stalkers blinking across, trying to deny the medevacs getting out of there. It doesn't quite happen, but I mean, a few of them go low at least. It's something. Gonna load up the left. DT comes in. A little swipe action. Marauder gets taken down. And the Stalkers continue to take some hits there, and Zealots will continue to charge up the left-hand side, chasing after that Marine Marauder. Stalkers coming through as well to push the medevacs away. Just chasing that away for the moment. And that Shadow Stride is going to be completing momentarily as a couple of Archons continue on out. This entire force of Prince just going to move up this ramp, and, well, Fire Force sets up. A few Marauders taking some damage, Archon taking some shots. The Zealots will start a fight as we do have EMPs going down. The Zealots are taking a lot of damage. Just don't think it's going to matter in the end. The economic damage done earlier has really hemorrhaged this army of ByuN, and it's just not what it's meant to be at this stage. Disrupt a shot, trying to find a good shot that doesn't land on Protoss units, which is difficult because there's just so much Protoss looking around these positions. That is going to get the deal done, and Prince is going to take game number 3 and takes a lead and moves on to match point here. And around a 6, Prince map for Protoss, large, good amount of bases to take. They can potentially get a full gold base up and running. That's all things that Protoss like to play with, so it's typically seen as a Protoss favored map, as Prince is our blue Protoss player, top left-hand side from Team GP, taking on the red Terran bottom right from the Shopify Rebellion ByuN, who, more than anything, just needs to try and stop those Zealots from getting so much achieved, because they are having a pretty good time in his bases as of late. I already said it, but these Korean players are so good at videos. Go. Let's play now, no downtime. Yeah, today's been good, actually. Some days, I mean, some days things happen right, or someone's just AFK when a game finishes and stuff, but today's been great. These guys have just been go. To be fair, a lot of the time what we wait on is, a lot of the time what we, I completely lost track of what I was going to say. Oh, a lot of the time the issue is waiting for casters to join the lobby, not the players. And we're just waiting for like 8 different casters to join the lobby. Sometimes that's what takes a little while. Today we only have 3 casters, me and 2 others, so it's pretty quick. Alright, factory coming through on the main base. As we just get this up and running, so getting settled here to begin with. Getting this started out. We're moving around, trying to see what's going on. Oracle on the way out, and the Cyclone is producing pretty comfortable early game without too much wild happening. Just building Oracle. Obviously, a response to that is a Cyclone. This is really standard. We're going to go straight to Twilight Council behind it. One Oracle into Blink is another of those very common ways to play. Stargate is proxied, so a little bit more pressure from the Oracle. And there's 2 extra gates behind this, so 3 gates is also a little bit more kind of pressure focused out of Prince. Let's see if that comes into play. So there right away, and that Oracle gets turned around pretty much immediately. As you just get going. Sorry again for a little bit of silence, guys. Just replying to my parents about something they're asking. Just while we're in the other game, so apologies there. As the Cyclone comes through, gets a lock onto the Oracle. So that Oracle's going to get pushed back a little bit. Impact, Combat Shield, +1, all of that continuing to build at the moment. Just having that Blink coming through, about halfway done at the moment. Stim and Combat Shield, +1, all of that coming in as well. And let's just see how our Stalker's coming through and denying the Reaper Scout. Wasn't SCV, it was the Reaper. Yeah, just denying the Reaper, and now just trying to try and take the gold base as a third. Obviously risky, but risk versus reward. If you get a full gold base going as your third, that's pretty freaking amazing most of the time. So as long as you don't die while doing that, that's pretty incredible. Oracle comes back down to the bottom right-hand corner against him. Combat Shield, +1 attack. All of that coming in at the moment. Get that established, and just seeing our Stalker's heading down to the south side with the Oracle as well, so all of that coming through over there. Like I said, with 3 gateways, you're a little bit more kind of well set up to be aggressive, and I think a big part of that is, you know, he wants to just be able to keep active on the map because he's taking the gold, and that lends itself into this kind of charge and a lot more gateways after as well. That was a scary move forward, because Blink wasn't immediately on cooldown, so he actually does end up losing a couple of Stalkers there, or just the one Stalker, but you know, when you only get a Marine for it, that's obviously not exactly ideal, right? That's quite far off from what you would have liked it to have been. And Burns is mostly just fine to take his third location, and he will now start going across the map. We'll see how he does moving over to the other side. See extra Stalkers warping in here, and the army of ByuN moving through the middle. Bioforce will start to chase. One Stalker already going down, the other Stalker's taking some shots. A lot of Stalkers taking a lot of damage. Super Battery needs to put in some overtime. Problem is, you can only warp in Stalkers. You don't have charge yet, so an investment into Zealots doesn't really make sense as of this moment in time. So you really got to keep that in consideration. Now the Stalker can get a little bit better, and I like this. Just chasing forward, getting a few units, and then blinking back. More or less kind of making this kind of a free set of pickoffs. As we do have charge and +1 still coming through on the side of Prince. A couple of assimilators and pylons all continuing out as well. An extra Zealot Stalker in production right now too. Units turning around once again. Zealots continue to drop as now Prince is on the chase. Sorry guys, again my connection to Korea has not been great today, but it's not affecting the players, so we just sit through the lag for 30 seconds or so and it should dissipate as these Stalkers end up turning back around. Once they lose out of Zealots to kind of tank for them, it's not really worth them chasing any further. But so far, defending the gold base, and that's really good news. And I believe the new gateway building is in the bottom left corner, so we're going to get an aggressive gateway and pylon combo to run Zealots at the third base without the Robo being up, because this is a no-Robo style that allows you to just really crank out even more units. There's a Robo now, but obviously that comes very late in, and we're going to see Prince now going to make an attempt to take ByuN's gold base. That's obviously a little bit of a different approach here as well. We'll see if that's something that can work out for him. Ghost Academy starts up on the side of ByuN as well, so just getting that underway. And just going to be seeing our Marine Marauder mine continue to come up. That gold is BM. See a lot of players taking double gold based on Pride. Like, it's become a thing. If ByuN doesn't spot it, and then there's enough units here to play around it, that's huge, but he is going to spot it now, so that's a cancel. The establishment here is going to get shut down, and that's kind of a big deal, because now you don't have the fourth as the Protoss that you're usually meant to have, so that risk doesn't work out at all. Widow Mines here. This might be one of those scenarios where you actually see a drilling close at some point because he's playing so Widow Mine heavy. And that comes that first round of Zealots counterattacking. And with the Dark Shrine on the way up, that's going to provide a lot of DT harass as well. So, again, Prince definitely carving this game into something he wants to play with, right? Definitely putting himself in a good position to start out with. Just going to see this Bioforce coming through, just passing the Watchtower quickly. As those Zealots go charging in, a couple of Widow Mines already taking damage. Union's going to come stimming across as well. And just going to be seeing our Stalkers trying to fight back against the Bio Army as well. Zealots will come on forward. Robo Facility going to get picked off. A few of these Ghosts continuing to try and fight off the Zealots on the other side. 20 SCVs going down. If ByuN can't deal with this army right now, which seems unlikely due to the fact his Widow Mines have already gone off, then he's going to be in some trouble. I mean, he does have an army supply lead. Plus 2's about to kick in though for Prince, so his upgrades are about to take, a turn into the, into his favor. And now, like I said, DT's warping in. 21 SCVs died. It's those hits to the economy that are continuing to hurt ByuN throughout this, not just game, but this series in general. This GT is realizing that they might be spotted there, splits up just in case the instant scan came down. And now they're going to start working their way through. Well, I believe they actually shot at a Ghost Academy initially. It's not ideal. And the scan there actually just catch a couple of those DTs. This one just slips out of scan range. So not really the best DTs to begin with. I'm kind of surprised at the first ones. For whatever reason is he actually catches the fourth and final DT on the right side. They hit the Ghost Academy, like they just attacked it. And that obviously told ByuN they were there, as otherwise I believe ByuN kind of missed seeing them. So kind of revealed it to his opponent for not really any gain. Which was, obviously, like I said, just a little bit weird to do. Zealots back around the right side. It's going to be a Widow Mine shot. Hits a Zealot there initially. A couple more Zealots going to go charging in after. Just seeing this group of medevacs want to make their way up the left-hand side. They're going to begin to unload on this third base location. So that third going to be taking some damage. A few of those probes continuing to drop. 7 probes going down. We'll kill off this pylon as well, so takes that down. And now the Stalker's actually coming in. Oh, go! A bunch of medevacs being picked away at there, taking some hefty damage. Now we're going to see this Bioforce now moving up to the other side of the map. Zealots are going to come running in. Well, ByuN still playing against what is just like super heavy gateway unit counts at the moment. Definitely a factor. As our Zealot Stalker sits in the center, a few Marauders coming around. Just going to be having the Immortal, Stalker, Robobait, all of that continuing up. Shadow Strident plus 1 armor continues through as well. These Zealots will go charging on in. And it's going to be seeing our Marauders and Ghosts continue to be hunted down. A couple of EMPs going up. And these few Stalkers just continuing to blink in once again. Going to get rid of a couple Marauders there. Clean those out. Well, Prince losing probes definitely feels a bit scary. He's got a high army supply now, but remember, it's very kind of, again, gateway focused. This is very much so a swarmy army. You want to act like a Zerg player and just kind of overrun with a lot of cheaper units. So it means that he's typically going to have a higher army supply, but that doesn't mean necessarily he'll take the better fights, because Ghost and EMP is obviously pretty powerful. I love that it's a higher group of DTs. We've got Shadow Stride in play as well, and they move down the right side as ByuN moves forward. It's obviously prime time for those DTs to potentially do a lot of damage. They're going to run in over here. There is going to be a turret. We need to blink out the way of the mine shots. It's So we blink, and now we'll start picking off SCVs. The scan goes down, but there's just not enough units here right now. The good news is at least these Marauders can kite a little bit. As we'll come back in, SCVs will continue to fall. Otherwise, DT's moving around the left-hand side as well, so they're looking to defend. As right now, we actually could probably just kill the turret off and at least force another scan, perhaps. That would be nice. As, again, I'm definitely just lagging up here, guys. I'm sorry. Don't know what, but my connection to Korea just completely sucks today. It's weird because it's not affecting the players, so again, we'll stay in the game, and that's at least the good news, is we don't have to tap out completely, but we just have these moments of lag spikes coming through, so apologies for that. +3 attack on the way on the Forge as well, so that continues forwards. Just going to be seeing Prince rallying together on the center of the map, so just holding the Watchtower once again. Going toward a 5th base now, he's already got that finished up, so that's also a factor here on this side. I apologize, this is obviously, I mean, it's very distracting for me to cast as well, guys, so I apologize for our lags. It's freaking annoying. But like I said, at least we don't have to leave the game, because then we don't see any of the games. Why does it affect the game sometimes when the cast is lagging, sometimes it doesn't? It's a good question. It's I think it's because it's not actually my internet that's lagging, it's kind of how the server from Blizzard is sending the information back to me or so. So it's like, I'm not actually, my internet's not lagging, it's just the way the data's like, the routings, I honestly have no idea. If I'm going to be honest, I don't really know, but it's very strange. I don't disagree. Let's see, this group of ByuNs continue to fight. The super battery is active, and the Stalkers will just begin healed up by the super battery. Actually, a free Colossus in the middle of the map goes down. It's nice that we're seeing this kind of robo swap, but it doesn't really matter if you're then just losing a Colossus for free kind of out on the map and so on, so something to keep in mind. Fire Force out to the far left, and this is actually a big catch here. Prince seems to know about this, so he is going to get a jump on this army. That's huge. You got a medevac straight away, and these Zealots continuing forward. And a lot of his Zealots are caught in the back, which is the shame of this. And now the rest of the army gets here. I don't think you want to continue with this fight. This is where you really need Disruptors. This is the point where you just absolutely need something extra, because at this point in time, you just do not have enough to really make it work. Again, you just need some sort of splash damage to help out. And that's why I like the Colossi, but then we lost one for free, and I wouldn't have minded just trying to get up to 3 Colossus in total. Counterattacks again from Prince, trying desperately to shut down reinforcements, slow down units in general, and just economy. Actually, now they got a deal there, and the couple of units showing up as reinforcements currently are not getting the job done. The bigger portion of the army is going to come back, of course, and that is also good for Prince because it buys him time. Going to get the missile turret. That's nice because obviously a missile turret means no, or not as much protection against DTs if they come back in. Yeah, these Zealots have actually done a fantastic job. They've pulled off a lot of stuff. And again, if nothing else, just the distraction to ByuN was fantastic. So all the damage on top of that is kind of that added bonus. We take the Watchtower, we're going to see this group of units here. And Prince wants to be engaging with disruptor shots pretty much every time now. I feel like this group of Zealots maybe here a little bit too quickly, right? And plus the sensor tower's up. I feel like ByuN was already back at home defending. It feels like he's barely given any time here, Prince, for ByuN to actually think about, moving those units back out somewhere. So I would have preferred if those Zealots had waited a little while. Although, again, you could also argue that maybe he thought ByuN would just be straight back out onto the map. But maybe it would have been nice just to wait for confirmation for that. Anyways, it was just a few Zealots, not the biggest of losses. As Prince is... Well, more and more Destructors coming through. He's down heavily on supply. And I still don't really love his army, but obviously with Disruptors in play, you can never really count his army out. So that's going to be the interesting kind of state of this. As you do have our Bioforces starting to press forward. Going through a little bit, Colossi going to fire up onto these Bioforces, and the army now backing up. I like that we got 2 Colossus again. I really wouldn't mind seeing 3 or 4. I really just think the damage that 3 or 4 Colossus provide is huge. ByuN has a bunch of units right now to the right side, by the way, so this is not his entire force in the center, making this a better engagement than what it maybe should be for Prince, as he'll blink off to the side to try and get these libs, but that puts the Stalkers in trouble. He's going to lose a lot of Stalkers here, and he actually completely missed with that Disruptor shot, so the units in the front just continue to fire. Rebuilding Stalkers is freaking expensive, and that's exactly what you're going to have to end up doing at this rate. So that's not exactly looking like a whole bundle of fun. like I say, yeah, replacing those Stalkers really is expensive. That's going to be pretty tough to work around as our Stalkers, Zealots, Colossi continuing through, pushing that Bio Force back. Now the Bio Army moves over to the far left-hand side, and then Nexus is going to be in some trouble. So the shots fire, a bunch of ByuNs continuing to go down. 12, 13, 14 probes already dropping off here from Prince, and the other portion of the army coming in there. Again, +3 attack and armor continuing through on the engineering base, as the Marauder on the left side will continue to ping through the assimilator. So the shot's going to go out aplenty now as the Terran army gets a little jump on this Disruptor force, and a lot of the Disruptors begin to drop. ByuN trying to stay alive in this tournament, of course, down a map, and if he wins this, we're going to get another 5-game series back-to-back. So that's pretty neat. This tournament definitely has had some great games. Oh, these Disruptors are way too far forward, and ByuN gets a jump on them. The first couple of shots then don't land, and now ByuN actually has free access up into this high ground because the Libs will zone the low ground pretty nicely. Even if you jump on those Libs, I mean, that commits the Stalker blink, and that's not exactly great to play with. Having your Stalkers already blinked here. The Disruptor's now starting to do a little bit better, but I feel like they're running out of steam, probably run out of shots already. A couple of reinforcements coming through. ByuN is kind of in two minds. Like, he's half fighting this army, he's half trying to finish off this base up over here. I feel like if he's just committed fully to the army, he might have been able to just get rid of it and go through it already, so I could kind of make this a little bit of an awkward situation as boom, boom, Disruptor shots land again. And now those Medivacs loading up, they're going to go boosting elsewhere on the map. So away they go as we do have the little Bioforce. Let's continue to run around after a DT that blinks back down to the low ground. The Medivacs continue back through as Marine Marauder continues up, and just going to be seeing our Stalkers going to come through and looking to try and get rid of a missile turret. Sort of shot fires, a couple more Marauders going down, trying to find even more. One of those Disruptors does die. The units join up on the ramp over here. The few ghosts coming through. Marines, Medivacs, all continuing to build at the moment. And just seeing this group of units from ByuN settling down right now. Well, Prince has 85 supply left, and obviously is just not looking too pretty. Definitely feels as though he should be on the tail end of this game, and like I say, going to most likely a Game 5 here. Between Prince and ByuN, the winner of this plays Kira in the other semi-final, and the winner of that plays Sola in the finals as well. As the overarching plan for the day, as our bio units from ByuN will go stepping up over here, gonna stem straight on through and into the natural we go, as the pylon will be in trouble, probes are going down. I mean, this space in general is just going to be having a bad time. Is trying to go over the other side. Disruptor shot still firing, and just seeing the ByuNs continuing through, cleaning up house. And well, this group of units at least is going to go down, but then what's to stop this actual army over here? He's ignoring the gold base because, hey, there's just nothing left on the gold anyway. So yeah, that's going to do it. GG's, and we are going to a game number 5 here between ByuN and Prince. Guys, it's been a fun one. Been a lot of back and forth, a lot of cool games so far. In the top right-hand side, tying it up, it is our blue Terran play from the Shopify Rebellion. Yeah. Bottom left, our red Protoss from Team GP. We have got Prince. It's going to pop down a gateway. I'm just going to be seeing our probe of Prince heading across to the upper right-hand side. I was going to have our gateway coming through. Marek setting up. In an aggressive series. I know we've had some longer games as well, but it even feels the longer games have had that kind of aggressive side to them, you know? People have been trying to, clamoring to get across the map and fight and get up in the faces of their opponents and everything. Reaper gonna be popping out in just a few moments' time. Just gonna be having that pop out and getting going. We're just gonna pop forward, and that probe is gonna go down, so that's gonna be a kill. It's gonna see our probe, escaping the Reaper at the moment, but we'll lead it back into the other probe. Stalker about to pop to play defense. That will be it for the moment. Again, a factory on the way up from ByuN, so no 3 racks action, and it will be back to a Twilight Council here from Prince, probably just into fairly standard blink again. Choice of 4 gate versus 2 gate, or so. I'd imagine maybe just 2 gate and expand once again, as he's already done a couple times earlier. As the starport is going to be finishing up in a few moments' time. And that will give, obviously, ByuN a little bit of tech on the map. Be able to go into those medevacs, of course, and be able to play forward from there. As Reaper coming through the bottom side, and there is a Stalker nearby. Is going to get a couple of shots off on the Reaper pretty much immediately. Just going to push that back through the south and over to the right without much difficulty at all. In a cool series. I don't think everyone I mean, to me, Prince has definitely been stepping up lately and doing better and better and better. But I don't think I would have necessarily put him out to win a best of 5 against ByuN, right? So, definitely really cool to see that continuing, as we do have our Raven coming up to completion, the barracks building up, refineries on the way. As Reaper of ByuN is going to hop up into the main base and just go have a scout around. So, Reaper hops in, scouting over, and that blink is just going to be finishing very soon as one probe already drops, and Reaper now escapes up the left-hand side. A couple Stalkers there to take it down. Starport lands off to the right. We're just going to see the barracks switching over to the tech lab, and the Stalkers continue to go back and forth a little bit here from Prince. It looks as though he will go across the map. He gets the Robo Bay start. This was all off the back of a 2-gate setup. And obviously the Robo Bay on the way now to give us some real proper tech into the mid-game. And that seems to be, for the moment, the plan. So that just continues to go all the way across the map. It's going to see there's nothing in the main, nothing in the natural. Army's just moved out, so actually he might have just about grabbed a sighting of that. In general, at least he knows it's out there. It'd be nice if he knew where, because he has Blink and he has Stalkers. It'd be great if he could put these Stalkers in a position to try and actually shut that army down as it moves across, stop it from getting in position. He does get the Raven, with only one probe going down to the auto turret, so it's nice to remove the Raven, but that third base of Prince is completely open to attack. There's nothing over here, and ByuN's just going to walk straight in. The probes are pulling, honestly, into the units, which feels questionable. The Stalker's going to blink for the tank, which actually stops you from killing the pylon here. So the battery stayed alive, but then actually it didn't really matter because then the pylon goes down straight after anyway. And Prince's preparation here is non-existent for this, and this is going to be a dead third base, and ByuN putting himself into an amazing spot. I mean, he hasn't even got stim yet, and that's going to be done soon. So these units are only getting better. Medevac support on the way, and without a third base, Prince is going to have a difficult time getting back in this game. He's going to be in a real tough place. Alright, Prince is just not ready. I mean, killing the Raven in the main base was nice, but it almost felt like a bait. You dragged all those Stalkers out the way. When you're playing Blink, you need to have those Stalkers on the map. You need to be chipping away at this army as it moves across, and not having that is freaking expensive. We're going for the Robo Facility. Colossus will pop out, and that's obviously a big deal, but it doesn't have Colossus range, so it's not going to have any real impact on this upcoming fight as the ByuNs continue to trade, and if the Colossus wants to engage, it has to step into tank fire. Well, you know, we know for sure that's not going to be pretty, and now you're going to have Medevac's healing. There's a +1 upgrade done. I mean, this just feels horrible. We do have a Widowmine that will not get to shoot at least, so that's something. Super Battery still on cooldown, not activated here, so that's going to be Colossus and the Immortal going down. You see the Colossus Shadow floating away in the distance, and yeah, I mean, here we go, some Zealots show up, and they're going to be trying to be the answer, but, well, Tank Fire continues to target fire Stalkers, and Prince's 5 army supply, guys. There's just no way this is going to work. Stalkers go down, GG is called, and ByuN is going to make it happen in the end to make it a TvT semi-final and a TvZ final guaranteed. So that is what's coming up, and we'll have that ready to go soon. More StarCraft action will be continuing in just a few moments' time. We'll get